So we've got the panels in from the booth. We brought them both in, and I just want to recap what I did. On here I sprayed the temperature up there, I measured it was 87 degrees. I sprayed 530 with ECR 85. And again, recap, the goal was to show you how easily it wet. And I try to show you that in this corner, but you should have really picked up on how effortless this was. Over here with the mystery clear, and let me add this. Good clear, good hardener, good reducer, correct gun setup, correct pressure, everything was done right. Over here we've got mystery clear, good clear, good hardener, good reducer, wrong temperature for the choice of clear, and slightly wrong pressure, right fluid tip. So I gave it some advantages, but nevertheless it was the wrong combination of products. And the goal was to show you what not to do, and I think we were able to do that. I'm gonna grab the camera now and we're gonna go down here so you can see the difference. We're gonna look at these lights in the reflection. That's called distinctness of image. And I wanna show you that right now, hold on. All right, so I've got the camera in my hand and I'm gonna walk down this. Now, this is the first panel we sprayed. And if you look at the lights, I just want you to focus on those lights and look how clean they look. You can look, it's got a wet look to it. It looks fantastic. And when I cross over into the mystery clear, you'll see, look at that. Look at the distinctness of image has just kind of fallen off. You can see how fat that is. And actually you can see the gloss has gone down a bit. When I come back onto the good panel that was done, look at that, looks beautiful. That is fantastic. Both panels got 2 coats, but look at the difference. Here's what not to do. You've got all the good products. You just got to put them in the right combination and spray them correctly. If you do that, you get that. Look at that, it's fantastic. If you don't do that, well, there you go. That's what you end up with. So let's now look at, there's 2 coats on here. Hey, you can see me? You can't see me. Dude, that's fantastic. All right, I'm back in front of the camera now because I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about film weight or film thickness. Now, if you spray this, you know, most shops, you could just ship that. If you sprayed this, well, you probably wouldn't want to ship it. You're probably going to polish it. We put 2 coats on here, and you know, is 2 coats enough? Well, if you put 2 wet flowing coats on there, you're probably going to get somewhere between 2 and 3 mils. I'm going to guess that I've got quite a bit more film weight on here than I do on here because I had to work at this and I had to force it to go on there. And so I'm pretty sure I've got more on there. But I've always tried to, I want to try and come up with an idea. Charlotte's with me and we were talking about how can we show how Clearcoat, how that I've got enough Clearcoat on my panel. And because if I polish it off, I'm going to remove some. And you got to be careful how much you take off. But 2 coats, you should yield 2 to 3 mils, which industry standard is 2 coats or 2 mils. So 2 coats should be enough. But how can I prove that to you? And I'm thinking, I'm trying to brainstorm. And Charlotte came up with a brilliant idea. I mean, genius idea. You're gonna love this demo. She came up with an idea where we can show you 2 coats is absolutely enough. And as you put less than 2 coats on, it becomes less and less, and you can see how unprotected that underneath the clear coat becomes. So the 2 coats needs to go on there, get you 2 to 3 mils, has enough for UV protection. And Charlotte came up with this great idea, so we're going to show you that right now. Check this out.
Hey everyone, my name's Charlotte Napier. I'm a territory manager with PPG Industries, and during my free time I like to play golf. So I came up with this idea because golf balls are white, they contain optic brighteners, which under UV light really pop. They're very bright, very white. So theoretically, if you were to take a golf ball and mask half of it off and spray 1/2 with Clearcoat and then stick that under a UV light, you should see that 1/2 very dull because the Clearcoat has UV blockers. The other half, which still contains the optic brighteners, is going to be very white, very bright, and it's going to glow. So let's go ahead and take a look. We have 3 separate golf balls and we're going to demonstrate to you what they look like under UV light. So what we have here is 3 regular golf balls. The first one was sprayed with 2 coats of clear, the second one with 1, and the third with about 1/2. What this represents is 2 coats of clear sprayed without polish, maybe 1.5 coats light polish, and not enough clear and maybe over polishing. So we're going to take a look at this under the black light, and you'll be able to see with 2 full coats of clear the way that the clear blocks the UV light, and it's very dull on this side. And as you move down, the golf ball gets brighter and brighter, so there's less UV blockage going on. So this is with 1.5 coats, maybe lightly polished and overly polished and not enough clear coat, which is penetrating the golf ball, the UV light.
Quite often, one of the things I get asked by a shop manager or a shop owner is, when we paint new sheet metal, from the E-coat to the clear coat, how much film weight or film thickness should we have when we're all said and done? Well, if you look at a clear coat, system on a new car, it ranges from anywhere from 3.5. If you go to a Dodge, it's 7. So it's somewhere between. There's a broad range. Typically on a Ford, you get about 4.5 mils to 5 mils. So that's what I tell the guy. That's what you want. And so to try and show that, what I've done is I've bought a Ford Fusion panel, and we're going to measure the E-coat. We're going to measure the sealer coat. We're going to measure the base coat, we're going to measure the clear coat, and then we're going to sand this half of the clear coat and show you the difference between sanded clear coat and non-sanded clear coat, because I want you to see how much clear coat you actually remove when you do sand and polish this, because this is very important. The clear coat is on here for the reason of gloss and protection. We already talked about that. So let's do some measurements. So this is the E-coat. Typically a guy's going to sand this, so if it's sanded, you can see from there we have 0.9. That's typical on an E-coat. Then we seal it. This is one of the steps that often get undersprayed. The best direction I can give you on a sealer is to spray to opacity. Don't put a light coat on where you can see through it. You want to spray a coat so it's opaque, so you can't see through it. And if you look at this, we've now gone to 2.1, so that's a little over 1 mil. And then we go to base coat. Most guys get the base coat on enough because they spray to opacity. And we've gone from 2.1 to 3.1. So we've got 1 mil of clear, 1 mil of base coat. We have about a mil, and a mil roughly. And then we come to the clear coat, so we're going to jump from 3.1 to 6.1. So actually with our those two coats of clear on here, with 2 coats of clear we have 3 mils, which is actually perfect. But the way I sprayed this was 2 wet coats of clear. That isn't always how clear coat gets sprayed. I see a lot of guys put on what they call a tack coat. If you're doing a tack coat, don't do that, that's wrong. Put a wet coat on, let it flash, and put another wet coat on, a wet flowing coat. So we're gonna take a break now. I'm gonna have somebody come in and polish this. We're gonna go through the steps of polishing real quickly, and then we're gonna measure the difference between this and this to show you how much clear coat was removed in the process of polishing. So let's do that. So hey, thanks a lot, Norm, for polishing that for us. I'm going to unwrap this, give it a wipe down, and then we're going to measure this clear coat and polish, and then this, and we want to show you the difference between polished and non-polished. So let's take that off. Get rid of that for a second. You probably see a faint line between the 2 clear coats. I give this a wipe. So just as a refresher, we have 5.7 there, wherever I measured it there, and over here we have 4.8. So we've taken off almost a mil, 9/10 of a mil. So that's, you saw how Norm polished that. He used 1500 wet on a DA with a soft interface pad. He moved to 3000 wet on a soft interface pad, and then used 3M's one-step system. White wool pad with a one-step compound, white compound, went to a black pad, and then the finishing polish. So that's a standard system that's used in pretty much every shop. And again, 5.9, 5.1. So between 8/10 and 9/10 of a mil. That's a significant amount of clear coat removed just from that simple polishing step. And I think that's worth noting for you when you clear coat a car. If you know you're going to excessively polish it, you might want to consider putting extra clear coat on it. I just want to go back and refresh how much clear coat we actually have on this. If I look at the base coat again, I have 3.24. from that point. When I go to the unpolished clear, I have 6.3, so roughly 3 mils. 2 flowing wet coats yielded dry film thickness of 3 mils. That's good. If you can achieve that in 2 coats, you're probably good enough to polish that, and I have 5.3, so 7/10. So between 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, almost a mil in some cases, I'm taking off. So over here, 3.3, 5.2, so I'm almost about 2 mils polished. But that's only because I got 3 mils out of my 2 original coats that I put on here. This is EC 530, and it was actually clear coated about a year ago. So when I first built this panel for that customer to show him, and so it polished pretty nicely after a year as well. That's really good. So let's go back in the classroom and continue. Well, we've had a lot of fun making this video, and we've covered a lot of area about clear coats. We started off talking about clear coat choices, picking the right clear coat choice based on temperature and job size, and how you can refine that choice by choosing the right reducer just to optimize that clear coat for the job, getting the most out of your clear coat. We also talked about equipment choices, making sure that spray gun, the fluid tip is correct, and that we make sure the fan pattern is clean. We don't want it hot on top and bottom, and making sure that the regulator isn't a generic that reduces CFM. We don't want to reduce volume, just pressure up and down. And then we also looked at application when we went out into the spray booth. The goal there was to show wetting, how easily the correct choice of material and equipment allows you to spray beautifully. It lays out nice, whereas the mystery clear was a bit of a challenge. You saw that, and you saw it on the end result. And then we looked at film weight. Charlotte showed us those golf balls. Enough clear coat, great protection. As the clear coat was getting less and less, we saw a diminished protection on those golf balls. Fantastic demo from Charlotte. And then when we went out and non-polished that panel for us, the whole point of that was to show you film weights from E-coat to clear coat, with an emphasis on the clear coat. I sprayed 2 coats about a year ago of clear coat on there, and it yielded 3 mils. We measured it. After Norman polished it, he took it down almost a mil. So if you're spraying 2 wet coats, you're going to yield between 2 and 3 mils. Industry standards. You can probably polish it, but if you're one of those guys that like to put a tack coat and a wet coat on, you're not putting enough on. So make sure you get 2 wet coats on. We showed that in that demonstration. And if you're going to polish it, make sure you have enough on to start with. Guys, it's a great time making this video for Clearcoat. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.